Pensions. We're always told they're crucial, aren't we? Sort of the bedrock for our financial future.
Absolutely.
Yet, for so many of us, they still feel like a bit of a black box, a mystery. Like, why are they so important? And what exactly is a pension, fundamentally?
Yeah, good questions.
So today, in this deep dive, our mission is really to cut through that confusion. We want to give you a solid understanding of how they actually work.
Right.
And crucially, how you can tap into what seem like, well, incredible benefits to build some serious wealth.
That's exactly the plan. We'll break down the main types you'll come across.
Okay.
We'll uncover these powerful ways you can get what feels like a financial boost, almost like free money sometimes when you save into one.
Free money sounds good.
It really is. We'll explain the tax side, how they grow, and then, really importantly, walk through how you actually get your hands on the money when you retire.
And what really stands out to me after years advising clients?
Yeah.
It's this. Almost every single person I've worked with who's enjoying a really comfortable, rich retirement, they actively use their pensions.
Wow. Okay.
Seriously, it's not just theory. It's a proven, practical way to secure your financial future.
Okay, so to really get this, we need to start with the basics, right? The different types. What's the main distinction we need to get our heads around first?
Exactly. So the first big split is between workplace pensions, the ones your employer provides, and personal pensions, which you set up yourself.
Employer versus personal. Got it.
And within those workplace pensions, there are two really significant categories. The first one is called defined benefit, DB pensions.
DB, okay.
People often call these the gold standard. And that's because they promise you a guaranteed future income when you retire.
Guaranteed. Okay, that sounds solid.
It is. The amount you get is usually linked to things like your salary or maybe your final salary or career average and how long you work there.
So it's not like you're building a pot of cash yourself. It's more like a promise.
Precisely. You're building up a right to a future income stream. You see these most often in the public sector.
Ah, like NHS, teachers.
Exactly. NHS, police, teachers, armed forces, civil service, or maybe if you've been with a really big established company for a very long time.
Right.
But they're pretty rare for new schemes now, outside the public sector.
Why is that?
Well, they're fantastic for the employee, obviously. But for employers, they represent a huge, unpredictable long-term cost, a liability.
Ah, makes sense.
Yeah. And two key terms you hear with DB are pension accrual. That just means each year you work, you're increasing that guaranteed income you'll eventually get.
Okay, building it up.
And the other is indexation. This is really important. It means the income you've already built up, it actually rises each year to try and keep pace with inflation.
Even if you leave that job?
Yes, even if you leave, the pension you've earned keeps getting indexed. It's a great feature.
Okay, so that's DB defined benefit, guaranteed income. What's the other main type of workplace pension then? The defined contribution, or DC. How's that different?
Right. DC is quite different. With a defined contribution pension, you're basically building up your own pot of money.
Okay, a pot, like savings.
Sort of, but it's invested.
Yeah.
The money comes from your salary, and often your employer contributes too. Now, the key thing is the contribution, how much goes in, is defined or known.
Right.
But the final amount you end up with in your pot, that's not guaranteed. It totally depends on how the investments perform over the years.
So there's risk involved, but potentially more growth.
Exactly. There's market risk, but also the potential for that pot to grow significantly over the long term, hopefully beating inflation by a good margin. It gives you a real chance to build substantial wealth.
And isn't it true now that most employers in the UK have to offer a pension, and it's usually a DC one, and they automatically put you in?
Yes, that's a really key point. Auto-enrollment. It's mandatory now for employers to provide a scheme. And yes, most new ones are DC plans.
Right, right.
You'll be automatically joined if you meet the criteria, age, earnings, etc. You can choose to opt out, but you have to actively do so.
Okay, good to know. So that covers the workplace side, DB and DC. What if you're, say, self-employed? Or you just want to save more on top of your workplace one? What about personal pensions?
Good question. Personal pensions are always defined contribution. So you're always building your own investment pot.
Always DC. Okay.
You might hear different names for them, like stakeholder pensions or SIPPs.
It is SPP.
Yeah, self-invested personal pensions. That just means you have more control and choice over where the money is actually invested.
Yeah.
Or sometimes people just call them private pensions.
Right.
But fundamentally, while there are, slight differences in fees or investment choice, they all work on that same core idea. You build up your own pot of money through contributions and investment growth.
Okay, this is starting to make sense. Now, you mentioned something earlier that sounded really appealing. This idea of free money, which you said could be worth tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands over a working life. That sounds, well, pretty compelling.
It absolutely is. And it's probably the single biggest reason why pensions are such a powerful way to save. The main source of this is called tax relief.
Tax relief. Okay, how does that work?
So basically, instead of paying income tax on the money you put into your pension, the government, or HMRC, effectively adds that tax money into your pension pot for you.
Adds it in.
Yes. Let's take an example. Say you're a basic rate taxpayer paying 20% income tax. You decide to put £100 into your pension.
Okay.
That full £100 goes into your pension pot. But because of tax relief, the £20 in tax you would have paid on that £100 gets added by the government. So effectively, that £100 contribution only costs you £80 from your actual take-home pay.
Wow. So 80 pounds out of my pocket becomes 100 pounds in the pension instantly.
Exactly. It's an immediate 25% uplift on your contribution just from tax relief.
And what if you're self-employed, putting money into your own personal pension? How does it feel then?
It works slightly differently in practice, but the result's the same.
Yeah.
If you're self-employed, you typically pay in the net amount, say, £80.
Right.
And then your pension provider claims that extra £20 back from HMRC and adds it directly to your pot. So you see the £80 go out, and then boom, £100 appears in your pension. It really feels like a top-up from the government.
That's brilliant. And I think I read somewhere that if you pay higher rates of tax, it gets even better.
It does, yes. If you're a higher rate taxpayer paying 40% tax, you get the basic 20% added automatically, just like everyone else.
Oh.
But you can then claim back the additional 20% tax difference through your self-assessment tax return or sometimes via your tax code.
So that 100 pounds contribution, what does it actually cost a higher rate payer then?
Well, effectively, after claiming back the extra relief, that £100 going into your pension only costs you £60 of your take-home pay.
60 pounds becomes 100. That's amazing.
It's incredibly tax efficient. But wait, there's more. For people who are employed.
Ah, yes, the workplace pensions.
Exactly. There's another layer of, well, let's call it free money. And this is often the biggest boost of all.
Okay.
Employer contributions. Remember we said employers have to provide a pension. Well, under auto-enrollment rules, they also have to pay into it for you.
They have to. How much?
There are minimum levels, but many employers will actually match your contributions up to a certain percentage of your salary.
Match them. So if I put in, say, 5%, they put in 5% too.
Often, yes. Or sometimes even more. It varies by company, but it's very common. So let's put that tax relief and the employer match together.
Okay, let's try.
You decide to contribute £100. We know as a basic rate taxpayer that only costs you £80, right? Because of the £20 tax relief.
Right, 80 pounds becomes 100 pounds.
Now, let's say your employer matches that £100 contribution.
Okay.
Suddenly, you've got £100 from you, £100 from your employer going into your pension pot.
For actual cost to me of just 80 pounds.
Precisely. You've more than doubled your money instantly before any investment growth even happens.
That is ridiculously cool. You literally won't find that kind of return anywhere else overnight.
It's unbeatable. Now, obviously, with such generous incentives going in, there has to be a sort of quid pro quo, right?
Yeah, the catch. Tax eventually?
Well, yes, pensions are taxed eventually,
Yeah.
but usually not until you actually start taking money out in retirement, which could be decades away for many people.
Okay.
And importantly, while the money is in the pension, growing over all those years, that growth is completely tax-free.
Tax-free growth, so no income tax or capital gains tax on the investments inside the pension.
None. That allows compounding growth, building on growth to work its magic without being chipped away by tax each year. It makes a massive difference over the long run.
Okay, so tax relief and employer money going in, tax-free growth. How does that growth actually work differently for the two main types, DB and DC?
Right, good question. For defined benefit, remember, you're not really building a cash pot yourself.
No, it's that guaranteed income promise.
Exactly. So the growth is you increasing the amount of that guaranteed future income you'll receive. Every year you're in the scheme, you accrue more pension.
And that indexation thing you mentioned, does that keep boosting it too?
Yes, that's key. The pension income you've already built up keeps getting increased each year, usually in line with inflation, to protect its value over time. That happens both before and after you retire.
Okay, so BB growth is about increasing that future income promise. What about DC, defined contribution? That's the pot of money one.
That's right. With DC, it's much more direct. The money you contribute, your employer contributes, plus the tax relief it all gets invested.
Invested in what, usually?
Typically a mix of assets, things like company shares, bonds, maybe property, depending on the specific fund chosen.
Okay.
So the size of your final pot depends purely on two things. How much money goes in over the years from you and your employer,
Right.
and how well those underlying investments perform over time.
So it's directly linked to contributions and market growth.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered how they're set up, the free money, how they grow. Let's get to the really crucial bit, getting the money out, the retirement phase. How does that work? Again, I guess it's different for DB and DC.
Very different, yes. Let's start with the defined benefit again, the guaranteed income one.
Okay.
With DB, it's generally pretty straightforward. You've built up this promise of a certain income. When you reach the scheme's specific retirement age,
Which might not be the state pension age.
could be different, yes.
What?
You need to check your scheme rules. But when you hit that age, you simply start receiving that income, paid regularly, usually monthly, just like a salary.
Okay. And is that income tax?
Yes, it absolutely is. It's treated just like any other income, subject to income tax.
Is there any flexibility? Can you take it earlier or later?
Usually, yes. Most schemes allow you to take it early, maybe from age 55, but your income will be reduced, sometimes significantly because it has to last longer.
Right.
You can often defer taking it too, and if you do, the income you eventually get might be increased.
And what happens if you pass away? Does anything go to a partner?
Typically, yes. Most DB schemes provide a survivor's pension, usually a percentage, maybe half of your pension, paid to a spouse or registered civil partner after your death.
Okay. And that indexation, the inflation proofing, does that apply once you're actually receiving the pension too?
Almost always, yes. That's a huge benefit of DB. The income you receive in retirement usually increases each year to help protect your spending power against rising prices.
That sounds really secure. Is there anything else with DB pensions at retirement?
One other common option is called commutation.
Commutation. Sounds technical.
It just means you can choose to give up some of your guarantee's yearly pension income in return for a larger tax-free cash lump sum right at the start.
Trade some income for upfront cash.
Exactly. You have to weigh up whether you prefer the higher regular income or the immediate tax-free cash. It's a personal choice.
Okay, interesting. Now let's switch to the defined contribution, the pot of money schemes. How do you get money out of those? It sounds like there might be more options.
There are definitely more choices, which brings flexibility but also more responsibility. So you've built up this pot of money.
Right.
First thing is, when can you access it? Currently, the minimum age is usually 55.
55. Okay.
Though, it's worth noting that's scheduled to rise from 2028. The plan is for it to be 10 years below your state pension age.
Okay. So if state pension age goes up to, say, 68.
Then you wouldn't be able to access your DFLA pension until you're 58. Something to keep an eye on.
Good point. Wow. So once you reach that age, what's the first big thing you can usually do?
The first major benefit, and it's a really popular one, is that you can normally take up to 1/4, 25% of your entire pension pot as a completely tax-free cash lump sum.
25% tax-free.
Yep. So if you saved up a pot worth 200,000 pounds.
You could take 50,000 pounds out, totally tax-free, right at the start.
Exactly. 50,000 pounds tax-free cash.
It's a significant perk.
Okay, that leaves the other 75% of the pot. What happens with that? What are the main options? For the remaining amount, which is taxable when you take it, you generally have two main routes. Option one is to buy an annuity.
An annuity.
Yes. This is where you hand over your pension pot, or part of it, to an insurance company. In return, they promise to pay you a guaranteed income for life, however long you live.
So that sounds a bit like the DB pension income. Guaranteed for life.
It is similar in that sense, yes. It provides certainty. And that income you receive from the annuity is taxed as regular income.
Okay, so annuity is one option, guaranteed income. What's the other main one?
The other main option, which has become very popular, is called drawdown, or sometimes flexi access drawdown.
Drawdown, okay.
With drawdown, you essentially keep the remaining 75% of your pension pot invested.
Still invested.
Yes. And you can then draw down money from it as and when you need it. Think of it like having a bucket full of investments with a tap on the side.
A bucket with a tap. I like that.
You can open the tap whenever you like, take out regular income, or maybe just occasional lump sums.
Yep.
You decide how much and when.
And the money you take out via drawdown, is that taxed?
Yes. Any money you take out beyond the initial 25% tax-free lump sum is taxed as income in the year you take it.
That drawdown flexibility sounds really attractive, being able to control when and how much you take.
It is very appealing to many people, but it comes with significant responsibility.
How so?
Well, because your money stays invested, its value can still go up or down. And crucially, it's up to you to manage your investments wisely and make sure you don't take out too much money too quickly.
Ah, the risk of running out of money.
Exactly. With an annuity, the insurance company takes on the risk of you living a long time. With drawdown, you carry that risk. You need to make sure your pot lasts for your entire retirement. So it requires careful planning and ongoing management.
Right, flexibility versus security, a big trade-off to consider there.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. What does this mean for you, our listener? We've covered quite a bit, the basics of UK pensions, the main types that guaranteed defined benefit versus the pot of money defined contribution.
Right. And those really powerful ways you get boost the tax relief from the government and those vital employer contributions if you're in a workplace scheme.
Yeah, that free money aspect, and then how they grow differently. DB building income, DC building an investment pot, both growing tax-free inside the pension.
And finally, the different ways you access the money in retirement. DB giving that steady indexed income, maybe with some tax-free cash up front.
While DC gives you that 25% tax-free cash option, and then the choice between a guaranteed annuity income or the flexible but riskier drawdown route.
That's a pretty good summary.
Phew. It's a lot, but hopefully clearer now.
And just to circle back to what I said at the start, based on, over 20 years doing this,
Yeah.
every single wealthy, comfortably retired person I have ever advised had actively paid into and utilized pensions throughout their working life. Every single one.
That's a powerful testament.
It really underscores just how effective they are as a tool for building long-term wealth and securing your future. It really works.
So the final thought for you listening, now that you've got this essential grounding, this understanding of how pensions work and why they matter, what's the one single step you could take, maybe even today, to make sure you're making the most of your pension situation and securing your own financial future?